Last month, a whistleblower leaked internal documents proving big tech has been hiding something massive from you. Your neighborhood is getting hotter, and it's not climate change. Environmental groups just exposed the biggest cover-up in tech history. Google, Microsoft, Amazon, they all knew. This is massive data centers powering your AI searches, your cloud storage, your streaming. They're creating localized heat islands that are warming entire communities by up to 9 degrees. Hundreds of millions of people are living in artificially heated neighborhoods, and nobody told them. But here's what the leaked documents reveal that's even worse. They've been tracking this data for years, and what they found will make your blood boil. The leaked documents show that a single AI data center consumes more electricity than 180,000 homes. That's the equivalent of powering the entire city of Spokane, Washington, just to answer your ChatGPT's questions. But here's the kicker. All that electricity gets converted to heat. Massive industrial cooling. Systems try to contain it. But physics doesn't care about corporate PR. The excess heat radiates outward in perfect circles, creating what scientists call thermal pollution zones. And you're probably living in one right now. The internal emails show executives knew this was happening as early as 2019. One Microsoft executive wrote, quote, "The thermal impact is undeniable. Legal says we need to minimize public awareness." They chose profit over transparency. They chose growth over your comfort. But the temperature increase is just the beginning. The leaked research shows these heat islands are triggering a cascade of environmental disasters. Higher temperatures mean more air conditioning usage, which means higher electricity bills for families who never asked to subsidize big tech's AI ambitions. We're talking about hundreds of dollars per year in additional cooling costs. Elderly residents in these zones are experiencing heat-related health complications at rates 40% higher than surrounding areas. Children's playgrounds become unusable during peak hours. Local ecosystems are collapsing. Birds are abandoning nesting sites. Insects are dying off, and native plants are withering. One internal Amazon document labeled entire neighborhoods as acceptable thermal casualties. Acceptable. To them, your suffering is just the cost of doing business. The most damning evidence came from a Google whistleblower who we'll call Sarah. She worked in their environmental impact division and watched executives bury report after report showing the thermal damage. She copied terabytes of data before they could delete it. Sarah discovered that Google had been using shell companies to buy land around their data centers, not for expansion, but to create buffer zones so wealthy neighborhoods wouldn't feel the heat. They literally engineered environmental inequality. The poor communities got cooked while the rich areas stayed cool. When Sarah tried to raise concerns internally, she was reassigned to a different department. When she persisted, she was fired. But not before she copied everything, every email, every temperature reading. Every calculation showing they could reduce the thermal impact by 60% with existing technology. They just chose not to because it would cost them an extra 12% in operating expenses. Here's what Sarah's leaked documents reveal that changes everything. The thermal impact isn't accidental. It's calculated. These companies run sophisticated models predicting exactly how much their facilities will heat surrounding areas. They know which neighborhoods will suffer and by how much. Microsoft's internal documents show they specifically target low-income areas for data center construction because they have lower litigation risk. Translation, poor people are less likely to sue when their neighborhoods become unlivable. The documents reveal a points-based scoring, system ranking potential locations. Proximity to wealthy neighborhoods, minus 50 points. Proximity to communities with limited English proficiency, plus 30 points. They're not just causing environmental racism, they're engineering it with mathematical precision. If you're finding this as disturbing as I am, hit that subscribe button because we expose stories like this every single week. But here's the reveal that will blow your mind. The technology to eliminate thermal pollution already exists. Sarah's documents show that advanced cooling systems using geothermal and liquid immersion can reduce heat output by 70%. Some facilities in Northern Europe already use these systems. The total cost? About the same as what these companies spend on corporate retreats each year. Amazon spent $1.4 billion on executive compensation last year. The cost to retrofit all their data centers with thermal neutral technology? $800 million. They literally chose executive bonuses over environmental responsibility. Google's Larry Page owns a $193 million yacht. For half that cost, Google could eliminate thermal pollution from their entire West Coast operations. These aren't technology companies. They're heat-generating profit machines that happen to process data. The final revelation from Sarah's leak is the most chilling. These companies are planning massive expansion. By 2030, AI processing power demands will increase by 3,000%. That means 3,000% more heat dumped into your communities. The internal projections show entire regions becoming thermally compromised. Corporate speak for uninhabitable. Phoenix, Austin, Atlanta. Dozens of major cities could see average temperatures rise by 15 degrees in areas surrounding data center clusters. And here's the kicker. They're not planning to implement thermal neutral technology. Instead, they're budgeting for legal settlements. Amazon has allocated $2.8 billion for thermal impact litigation over the next decade. They're literally planning to pay court settlements rather than fix the problem. To them, your overheated neighborhood is just another line item in their legal budget. So here's what's really happening. Big tech isn't just processing your data. They're redistributing heat from their facilities to your neighborhoods. They're essentially using your communities as giant heat sinks for their profit-generating computers. The leaked documents prove they knew this from day one. They calculated the human cost. They engineered the inequality. They chose profit over people, and they did it with spreadsheets and algorithms. But Sarah's leak has triggered something they didn't expect. Environmental groups are now armed with their own internal data. Class action lawsuits are being filed in 17 states. City councils are passing emergency ordinances requiring thermal impact studies before data center construction. The companies that spent billions hiding this truth are about to spend billions more fighting the consequences. They thought they could cook your neighborhoods in secret. They were wrong. The heat they've been dumping on you, it's about to come back to them in the form of legal fire. Big tech thought they could heat your neighborhood without consequences. They calculated wrong. If you enjoyed this deep dive into corporate environmental crime, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss our next investigation. Because if you think cooking communities with AI, waste heat is bad, wait until you hear about the toxic chemicals they're pumping into your groundwater. That story drops next week.